This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Prime.
Hello and welcome to the Realty Debate. As the meeting of finance ministers of state in the GST Council culminates with decision on rates for various products, we at NDTV Property ask a simple question. Is buying a home going to get cheaper or expensive for a home buyer after GST? Well, I do admit it's not a very simple question. In fact, it's quite complicated. The impact of GST on the final product, that is the house that you and I will purchase, is not so linear. And what is the reason why it is happening so? We have some guests with us to discuss about this. We have Mr. Shubhranshu Pani, Managing Director, Strategic Consulting, JLL India. We have Bipin Sapra, he's a tax partner of Ernst & Young. Welcome. We'll soon be joined by Mr. Hiranandani as well, but let's begin this discussion with you. First, I'd like to begin with you, Mr. Pani. What do you think? Because the rates right now, we have no clarity about real estate as such, but we do have a little bit of clarity which tells us how construction is going to be taxed. What do you feel? What is your feeling about it? Is it going to impact real estate in a big way?
I think there is going to be a very significant impact on real estate. I expect that, with the details which have come out today on the rates, the prices could come out if they come down, if the developers are able to pass it on to the end consumer. There is, however, two things on the short run. I think the developer community is not ready on their own, as well as back to back with their vendors and the suppliers and the people who provide the labor, etc., to be able to handle the complexity of this, because at one go you're expecting the multiple partners they have to be all compliant with GST, and especially GST as well as digital uploading. I think there we will find some teething issues to start with. But more and more, when I speak to developers across my connections, I feel that there is a positive reception and they feel that the prices could come down.
Okay. Bipin, what is your sense about this? Because there is a lot of confusion, and a lot of what we are hearing is also speculation right now. Nobody has that kind of clarity. What do you feel?
So I think it will take some time for a very clear picture to emerge. So the final rates of GST are being announced today. The rates are going to go up from what the rates are today. The credit chain for the construction sector is going to be limited. For the other sectors, the credit chain is going to get better. So there would be an impact. The input taxes on the materials which are being used, the steel, cement, is going to go up. The output rate, if it's say at 12%, that's what I hear, would be maybe higher than what the service tax rate of 4.5% is today. Even if you couple it with the VAT rate, which is closer to 1 or 2% in most states. So overall impact would be on the higher side. And one of the major reasons would be that the complete credit chains have not been maintained in the real estate sector. So mixed bag as of now, and let's wait and watch as to how things emerge once the GST gets implemented.
Okay. So if I talk about the current situation, this is pre-GST, what exactly does a home buyer pay? When we talk about buying a product, which is the house, and when he's paying the taxes, what exactly does he pay right now?
So a home buyer is paying taxes only on the houses he's booking, especially the flats, apartments which he buys, he books with the builder. There is no tax on property which he purchases after the first registry happens. So once the first booking is being done, there is a service tax element and there is a VAT element on this. So the service tax element is roughly around 4.5% today. That's 70% abatement on a 15%. So the effective rate comes to 4.5%, and VAT varies from state to state, and there are a lot of factors out there, but generally the rate is closer to a 1 to 2% if you look at a compounding with on the overall contract price of the apartment. So, roughly 5 to 6% is the 5.5 to 6.5% would be what the output effective rate would be today.
Okay. So, Subhranshu, we've been listening to the rates that are coming out, and the clarity that came about cement or tiles or paints, that is all we've heard right now. Now, keeping that in mind, do you feel the cost of construction is going to go up or go down?
So, I think a lot of the vendors for these developers will come into the net of GST now, and if they have to get the input credit, they will have to back get them GST compliant. So that the only way they will get the input credit is if the vendors for them are also compliant. So I think that benefit until these vendors get compliant will not be there, but once the benefit is passed on to the developer, there will be some relief for the developers, and that could be passed on. Second, I think the ease of doing the business will increase.
Okay. So you feel that the ease of doing business is going to increase. That is one word, you know, one phrase we've been hearing constantly, that ease of doing business is going to increase. In fact, I think that's been sort of like a motto of the government, which they've been throwing at us again and again. What do you feel, Bipin? Is that going to happen? Because the developers tend to say that we've been hearing that for a very long time, but that's not happening. Do you feel GST is going to do that?
I hope it does that, because what we are seeing in the complexity of the law and the rules does not really make us believe that as of now, especially for the services sector. And if we look at the reality sector, there would be a decentralized way of working on the paying the taxes, and there would be two levels of administration, the central level and the state level. So the complexities are going to be huge. The credits for real estate sector are minimal. There are very complex rules, like if you are buying things or procuring a supply from an unregistered dealer, which I would believe happens a lot in real estate sector, there would be a charge, a reverse charge liability happening. So the rules are complex. The good thing is that the GSTN or the compliance mechanism brings about a transparency in the system where everybody has to be compliant.
Yes.
So that's going to be a huge plus for the entire economy, and everything is going to be out there. Whatever the compliances happen and whatever is put on the net would be available for everybody to see. So that's something which is going to be a huge plus, and that should make the sector more buoyant. More collection should happen.
Yes, we do have Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani joining in with us right now on the phone. He's CMD Hiranandani Group, and he's also president of Naredco West. Thank you so much, Mr. Hiranandani, for joining. First, you must have heard what Finance Minister has said. Any first reactions?
No, I think my first reaction would be that it looks like real estate is costlier. I think it will move up. I was expecting much lower indications in this sector, but on a prima facie look at it, I think it's an upward revision. A large number of unregistered vendors do sell things at the local level when you are doing projects and things like that. And all that is really going to be added to the cost today, because there is a reverse charge as far as the developers are concerned. And barring certain centralized areas where this will not happen to a great extent, a majority of developers will be affected negatively in terms of higher charge. So I think prima facie, first look cut, yes, it will become more expensive and it will become more costlier. We just hope that something would have come on the affordable housing segment as separate rules in terms of some kind of benefits to come, but they are not seen anywhere.
Yes, that is one thing that we were also waiting for, anything on affordable housing, and nothing right now. The government is absolutely quiet on this. But Mr. Hiranandani, what do you suppose the government needs to do? Because we saw in various CREDAI conferences and conclaves, you were promised that it would be revenue neutral. What is it that you're expecting from the government so that that actually happens?
No, I think, first of all, the initial part of it was whether the other taxes at the local levels in terms of stamp duty and other things would be subsumed in terms of GST. That has not happened. So a large number of taxes over and above this tax is going to take place. That's one. The reverse charge is, I think, wrong, because ultimately earlier it was supposed to be given credit to in terms of whatever is being paid at the earlier level. But looking at the way the industry is geared at the countrywide level, I think by and large it looks like it's going to become more expensive for most of the people who are in the real estate industry in terms of construction and development. Prima facie, it looks the industry is going to have more difficult times in terms of costlier inputs. So we are challenged as far as that is concerned, along with RERA and the other aspects of demonetization, which of course is not there as much today. I must be honest that that part we have been able to overcome. But RERA regulations will bring a credit tightness, and this will definitely cause inflationary tendency in the real estate.
Okay, so that is one thing that almost all the developers are saying, that the prices are going to increase. But I would say let's wait a little bit. Let's wait for the rollout and let's wait for RERA to really take effect and see exactly what happens to the prices. But you stay with us. I would like to ask Shubhranshu here. Shubhranshu, you wanted to say something at that time when I cut you short. Would you like to finish your train of thought?
Yeah, so I agree with all of them that this reverse GST is something which is going to apply in the short run. But I think that is the beauty of what, it is going to get a fundamental change to the industry. So the developer is going to work doubly hard to get all their vendors, get organized and reduce the reverse charge on themselves. And I think that will bring a lot of credibility and cost rationalization in the longer run. I'm not sure how the impact will be in the short run though, because short run definitely the developer is going to be paying double.
So they'll need to be more efficient is what you're saying now.
They will have to get vendors who are GST compliant and are taking credit and passing on the input credit to the developer. So absolutely. I think their vendor base will have to start getting organized.
Mr. Hiranandani, stamp duty is one pain point, I guess, because we all know that that's a big, sort of a big amount that a consumer pays. But that is one thing that states completely refuse to let go. Now, why is it so important for the states, and why do you think it would have been better for the consumer if the states would have sort of set aside their own, their own revenue sites?
No, you see, the point is that the real estate will now, post this GST coming into the factor, will be probably the most highly taxed sector in the country today. So if that happens, because there's not only stamp duty, there are local taxes by the local authorities, the municipal corporations, the municipal councils, the revenue authorities. All of them have overtaxed the real estate sector, believing that there is an unlimited resource which is available for them to collect in terms of taxes. So if you look at it today, even today, about 33% of the cost of a house in the affordable segment, or maybe a little more, is out of taxes. So if you're not going to be able to reduce these taxes, then it will go to, let's say, 40% as a total amount if you're going to look at the reverse charge and other things. That means in an affordable housing sector, if you have 4,000 rupees as a cost of the house per square foot, half of it will be in terms of taxes alone. So how are you really going to bring down the cost of housing or bring about affordability if you are not segregating affordable housing with the rest of the housing segment? One. And second, if you're not going to subsume the other taxes, then each of the levels at local authorities, like corporations and other city councils, as well as the state governments in terms of stamp duty and other charges in terms of additional FSI, they are charging additional amounts. All these are quite linked with the ready reckoner rate or the circle rate, as they call it in different places, and those are going to be extremely inflationary. So cost input for houses is 100% going to go up, but the answer to whether prices overall will go up or not, that depends on supply and demand over a period of time. So I wouldn't be able to say, but the margins in terms of developers is definitely going to be squeezed.
Okay. Bipin, for the sake of our viewers, I would really like to ask you, how does affordable housing right now work in terms of tax? What is it? Is it being taxed? Has it got a tax holiday? What is it? What is the situation right now?
So, when it comes to taxing of houses, it's generally the apartments, and wherever there are more than 12 apartments in the place, if somebody is building it and selling it, that's what is being taxed under the GST net. But what needs to be seen is that what is the incidence of tax on these affordable housing. So, I agree with what has been spoken here before on the affordable housing, that if tax is going to be a major component, whether it's GST, whether it's stamp duty, and a lot of other taxes are going to get inbuilt into it. And whenever you build affordable housing, you are employing, you are working on a much smaller scale, and looking at using vendors which are not registered. And if you have to pay a tax on reverse charge, and the credit of which is not available, then you are looking at a lot of increase in cost which is out there. So today, at least that issues are not there. Those issues are not there. There will be other compliance issues also which would come in, depending on which state a particular builder is, where he is building, where the contractor is providing the service from, because the place of supply rules are very much related to where the property is located. So, a lot of other compliance issues would crop in, along with the increase in rates, the lack of input tax credit, and the reverse charge mechanism which is there. So, this sector, as Mr. Hiranandani rightly said, is going to be one of the, if you look at the total tax incidence, it may be one of the highest tax incidences out there.
Okay, so it might be one of the highest. That's quite scary in case, because if you look at it, a house is probably the most expensive product that a consumer ever buys, and that's probably the highest tax you ever pay in your life. So here, Mr. Pani, I would like to bring you here. Why do you think that real estate, though everybody thinks of it as an industry, but you know, me being a consumer and being a typical journalist, I would like to know, why is it not taken into consideration that a person who is buying is actually putting in his life savings, and then the taxation is so high? So what do you think that the finance minister would actually, at least for the affordable housing and the lower cost houses, would he be taking it into consideration? Because we still have to wait for a lot of things to come out right now.
See, I think there are two factors, and like Mr. Hiranandani clearly pointed out, there is the reason why the stamp duty etc. has not come into the ambit of GST is that many of the municipalities consider the property tax and stamp duty as the primary source of earning. This is a major component of the earning of most of these municipalities, and obviously, you know, sharing that with the center was never going to be easy. So if you remove those major component of it out of the purview of GST, that means that the support has not completely for this real estate industry as such. You have not reduced the taxation when you add these two components. Now, how will affordable work out is something which definitely they have to relook, and they have to do something to reduce the input costs in affordable housing. Because if they expect that they will be able to make affordable housing more affordable for the consumers, for which they have started giving them a benefit of credit linked schemes, etc. This is something which is in their hands. So if they think that the affordable housing is not moving, they may come back and put something in the affordable housing basket to tell that, okay, if it is affordable housing, or if it is a 30 square meter or a 60 square meter development, this is the type of credit which we will give. Or like our panelist was saying that, there definitely needs to be this reverse tax has to be removed for at least affordable housing. So something has to be done if you want to keep the affordable housing industry going and lucrative.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
I think affordable has to be relooked.
Yes, affordable is definitely the key, and I think the government will have to sort of put its microscope over there and really take a closer look at that, because that is one thing. And in fact, if you look at the mission housing also, the mission 2022 housing for all, then also it's beneficial for their scheme as well. Anyway, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining. And GST rollout is going to happen by 1st of July. There is not much time. We will soon have the clarity, and the speculation and trying to understand what is going to happen is going to be clear soon. So we hope that's going to happen pretty soon. It's time for a short break now. When we come back, we find out what changes new UP government has made to the draft rules of RERA.